Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling.
Does anybody know what time it is? Locker Talk time. This is Locker Talk episode 41. To show everything WWE, past, present, and future. I am your host, Colton. Finally back by my side, my co-host, the main event, Matt. Welcome back, Matt. We're glad to have you on this very special anniversary episode of Locker Talk. Let's jump right into this thing. You were a bit sick yesterday. You weren't able to join me for our Fastlane show. So why don't you give everyone your thoughts on Fastlane really quick and everything that you thought about in a great show in Fastlane or something like that.
Not too many thoughts on it. I had no idea what was going on for the Edge and Christian segment. I felt that went downhill. And then I also was completely lost as to why R-Truth was coming out or the Social Outcast. I felt like that match was for Titus O'Neil, but they just replaced him with another black man in there. I mean, which R-Truth is basically a better performer, but it's just kind of awkward to know that was probably what was going on. Also, I feel like they missed opportunities with Enzo and Big Cass. That could have been great heat. Three of the best tag teams on the mic with cutting promos and insulting other people. That could have been amazing. And I also felt like they missed an opportunity. Oh, during the triple threat, the Wyatt family pulling Lesnar out, I feel like that should have happened. A lot of people are getting behind the Ambrose Lesnar train, and I mean, it sounds pretty awesome with the street fight rules, but I would have loved to see a Bray Wyatt versus Lesnar and like Bray get a win against Lesnar at Mania. I feel like that would just catapult them up into the main event segment. Where right now they're just like hovering just below it, losing every match slowly to the dads and Ryback.
Indeed, they are. Yeah, good thoughts. I had the same thoughts. Overall, a decent show. Kind of fell off at the end, but that's not what we're here to talk about. This is our anniversary show that we're recording. Yes, our anniversary was technically yesterday, but this is the anniversary of our second ever Locker Talk. And since we're both here, this is the one that counts and this is the one that matters. And so we're just going to run through, just have a nice little fun Locker Talk show, run through our thoughts on Raw tonight, the implications that may have for WrestleMania. But first, we're going to read out the many, many tweets we got regarding Raw tonight. And by many, many, I don't mean that in quantity, I mean that in quality, from @KyleBub, who has sent us. Minus a few lulls, I thought this was a fantastic episode of Raw. Can't believe we're getting Shane versus Taker, Hell in a Cell, at WrestleMania. Neither can I, my friend. Neither can I. Also, I did one of these fun little poll things, which Twitter has, and I asked all of you people, and I got a good response. Which Triple H theme is better, The Game or Bow Down to the King? And with 100% of the vote, The Game won. So, my apologies to the Bow Down to the King for not being as great, apparently. But I enjoy both of them. Matt, I know both of us we're pretty big into entrance themes. It's one of the things that can really get you into a wrestler or can really get you out of a wrestler. So, with that said, Matt, we started off Raw tonight in a big way. There were rumblings and rumors going around that some big star was returning tonight, but I don't think anyone in the world anticipated that star being Shane McMahon. And wow, one of the loudest reactions, longest reactions of anyone returning that I've heard in a very long time. I did call this on Twitter right before it happened. I didn't mean to. I was making a joke about how Shane should come out and steal the award from Stephanie. But, what did you think about this first opening segment? A lot better than other opening segments. What do you does this match happen at WrestleMania? Shane against Undertaker? What do you think about this one? I'm not sure really what to think myself.
Well, it was a 34 or 36-minute opener talking routine, which a lot of people would hate on, but because it was such a magnitude, people didn't mind it at all. I didn't even know 30 minutes went by until I looked at my phone. It's surprising the pop. Like I popped, me watching it.
Weasel.
Yeah, I mean, it's years since we've seen him in the business. He sold off his shares and went to go work for other corporations so he can make a name for himself. And then he just comes back and there's this huge pop for a pretty mediocre wrestler, if we're being honest with ourselves. Um, it's Undertaker versus Shane. I think it'll happen. I think Vince talked to the Undertaker and, you know what, do this for the business. Take one for Shane. He's coming back. He's gonna do it with Stephanie to run Raw and everything else. And I think the Undertaker is loyal enough that he'll take the loss here and just focus one more year. We're not gonna see him all year until he can face Cena for that last match. This is just to get the Authority more over, or the company more over, with the fans.
Yeah. j- uh, I think people kind of wrap this up in a nice little little picture. I don't remember exactly what it was. I believe I don't remember exactly who sent out this tweet or what the picture was, but it was, "I'm so excited, but I don't know what's going on right now," and that's exactly how I felt. To me, there's a lot of issues with this, but at the same time, I don't really care that much because it's really awesome and I'm really excited. But just off one part, why would the character Undertaker agree to Vince McMahon putting him in a match with Shane McMahon? That's the one true character we have left in the WWE, and that does not seem like something that Dead Man would do. And at the same time, the Undertaker is, whenever he's back, he's one of the biggest baby faces in the company. And as you saw, Shane is also a baby face right now, trying to get rid of the Authority on Raw every week. So I don't really know how that's going to play out. I'm excited to watch it play out and see what happens. I'm excited to see what The Undertaker has to say about this. You and I were texting earlier while this was happening, and you were concerned that both of these guys are older and how it might not be safe putting them both in a Hell in a Cell match. And while I understand that, and I agree with what you're saying, to me, Shane, as you said, Shane McMahon is not a wrestler. And so I see little to no chance of Shane McMahon actually injuring The Undertaker in a match like this. And I think Undertaker is such a good wrestler that Shane wouldn't be injured as well. So I don't really see that being an issue. I just kind of wonder how it would go down, how it would even make sense for Shane to have any chance in hell of beating The Undertaker, which Vince obviously alluded to. But I don't know. They got me excited. They got me intrigued to see this. It amazes me how fastly the internet changes its mind on what's going to happen. Last night they were all complaining and moaning and groaning about hashtag cancel WWE Network, hashtag cancel WrestleMania. And less than 24 hours later, everybody's freaking out, super excited about what's going to happen. And so we said it before on the show, sometimes you just need to wait and see what happens because there's always a plan. They've always got something in their mind that they want to happen. Doesn't always mean it's good, but they've got something planned. So I'm interested to see where they're going with this. And so the next, we're not really going through any particular order here, but the next kind of thing we get is Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar coming out to the ring. They showed that clip of Lesnar beating up Dean Ambrose earlier today 1 billion times, which is really cool. They don't really do a lot of things like that anymore. And so that was really fun to see until they started showing it 5 or 6 times. And then, Ambrose obviously comes out. I think we all saw that coming a mile away in the ambulance. He's finally acting kind of crazy, which he's finally living up to his own name. I'm on the side who thinks that he hasn't ever actually done anything crazy up until this point. I don't understand the moniker, the lunatic. But, Dean Ambrose goes and calls out the Beast on the floor for a match at WrestleMania. And so I am super excited to see this match. That's why I was not disappointed in seeing Roman Reigns win last night. I agree with you. I would love to see Bray against Lesnar, to maybe see Bray get the win at WrestleMania. But I think I want to see Ambrose versus Lesnar even more, because I think we've all seen Ambrose has shined since he's kind of had a bone to pick with Lesnar these past few weeks. And so, Matt, I know you're one of those Ambrose fangirls on the internet, and you love him so much. So what do you think about this? I had a thought that ran through my mind last night. I was glad you weren't really watching Fastlane, because I didn't really want you to see Dean Ambrose get tossed around like a rag doll. But what do you think? Is this a good match for your boy Dean Ambrose?
From one area it is. If he picks up a win in a street fight versus Brock Lesnar, that would be huge for him. That would catapult him into that Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, John Cena area, I believe. But if he loses, I don't know what it proves. You don't need to put Lesnar over any more than he is. He works part-time, and he's one of the biggest baby faces the company has, and really he acts like a heel. So that's impressive in its own right. He's older. He's not going to be around in 3 years probably. And Ambrose, you have all these years, just like Roman Reigns, just like Seth Rollins, just like Cesaro. So it would make sense for him to win, and that's the only good I see from this match. For Ambrose to go out there looking like a superstar, hitting him with chairs, hitting him with this, hitting him with that. Obviously, you'll have that comedy segment where he'll try to suplex him again, most likely, and can't quite pick him up. But that's the only way I see this being a good match and getting over with the fans, is if Ambrose wins. If Lesnar wins, I think the hardcore fans would have problems with it, because it does nothing to either's career.
Yeah, I would have a problem with it. But then again, I would have a problem with Lesnar winning any match. He doesn't need to win anything, but I'm jaded and biased. So let's not go into that. Let's see. Let's not go through all the big main matches first. Let's shuffle this around. So the U.S. title, Kalisto is obviously the United States champion right now. He beat Alberto Del Rio in a really good match on the pre-show to Fastlane with the amazing Mauro Ranallo on color commentating. Fantastic. Hashtag Mauro for Mania. We need to get this trending, people. Come on, I can't stand listening to Michael Cole for 4 straight hours. I need to have Mauro Ranallo in my life in that time. So I believe in us. I think we can make it happen. It probably won't happen, but I want it to happen. But yeah, we don't really have anything yet for the U.S. title. I'm sure we'll get to it in a week. What do you want to see from the U.S. title? What do you want to see from Kalisto? Do you want to see the Lucha Dragons? I mean, I don't, but I mean, some people might. What do you got on that one?
I think this should be a fatal 4-way or a triple threat, and you should put your 3 most athletic and just smooth wrestlers. And when I say that, I mean like Kalisto, Neville. You could put AJ Styles even there if you wanted to. Any number of the high flyers, or you can make it that fatal 4-way and put Sin Cara in there if you really wanted to get rid of the Lucha Dragons once and for all. That could be a good way. But this WWE has an opportunity right now with Kalisto having the belt and him and Alberto Del Rio putting on these amazing smooth matches. It just looks like you're watching like just a stream. Like they just know what they're doing at all times. There's no botches. It's just smooth. They have an opportunity to make this more of a technical wrestler's belt, more of a the High Flyers belt. So you put Neville in there, you put AJ Styles in there, you put Kalisto in there, you put Sin Cara in there, and you can give a belt to those kind of guys because they never really win the big stuff. You could even put Kofi Kingston in there from the New Day and have them be represented in a better way than facing the League of Nations, if that might happen.
Sorry. I was just yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's all I had on that.
Oh, okay. Either way, so speaking of the League of Nations, oh boy. Yeah, I'm just gonna stop wanting things in life because it turns out I'm just never gonna get them. So it seems through Twitter and Fastlane last night that the League of Nations will be challenging the New Day for the titles. Part of me, the tiny part of me is like, well, at least guys like Barrett and Rusev are getting, the spotlight. They'll be going for a title at WrestleMania. Maybe, I assume they would also hold the titles under Freebird rule. But then there's the actual fan human in me that says, why the hell don't we have Big Cass and Enzo Amore on the main roster yet? I'm getting a little upset about it. So upset that I just completely decided to not talk about the U.S. title and my thoughts for WrestleMania. But I don't really care about that, so I'm going to talk about the New Day. The New Day is awesome, as seen here. New merch, go check it out, www.shop.com, for a low price of probably too much. This is kind of cheap material. Don't take this out a lot. But yeah, so we're getting the League of Nations, or the League of Nerds, as they've been coined by some people on the internet. And I don't want it to happen. Just having Sheamus in the main event tonight was bad enough. I just don't care. I don't want to see them. I mean, I've said it before. I only want to ever see Rusev on some sort of sitcom where he can play a comedic character. Because just the little things that he does, I'm starting to turn around to Rusev and his comedic abilities. I'm still not completely sold on his wrestling. He's a good worker. I like Barrett, but apparently he's gone at the end of the summer. And so other than that, I just don't care. I don't want to see the New Day wasting their time on the League of Nations. They need somebody on the same level. And technically, the New Day and the League of Nations are both heel teams. And so I'm not really sure how that's going to go over. But if the New Day loses to the League of Nations, I'm going to be upset. My prediction, however, and even though I said, 3 minutes ago I should stop wanting things, but the New Day retains against the League of Nations at WrestleMania, the Raw after that kind of thing goes down. Enzo, Big Cass come out, they school the New Day on the microphone, they challenge them to the match. 1, 2, 3, new tag team champions, Big Cass and Enzo Amore. Book it, wait for it, it's gonna happen. Matt, you can't top that, but go ahead and try.
It's actually an interesting point about Wade Barrett. If you were in charge of re-signing him and he wanted maybe like another ISC Intercontinental Championship run for his 6th run, I believe, he wanted it for like 8 months, would you give it to him or would you let him re-sign somewhere else?
Oh, in a heartbeat. Yeah, I love Wade Barrett. I think a lot of the internet people love Wade Barrett. He's drastically underused. That Bad News Barrett gimmick was completely 100% over with the fans. Everybody loved it. And for whatever reason, they decided to scrap that at the height of its popularity. But yeah, if that's all he wants, 8 months, IC champion, heck yeah. Signing him. I want Wade Barrett in my company. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah,
Good question.
he's talented. I feel like he needs more matches. I feel like he's injured all the time, though. He's like the Rob Gronkowski of wrestling. He's made of glass.
I thought
Sorry, Farmer.
that Mojo Rawley was the Rob Gronkowski of wrestling.
He might be the good part of Rob Gronkowski.
I didn't know there was
Part
a good
not
part.
made out of glass.
Anywho, yeah, go ahead.
Um,
Tag team titles.
tag team titles. I don't even know. I'm assuming if this match does go down, I hope it's on the pre-show, so that if my stream is bad, I don't have to complain too much about missing that match. I don't even know who would challenge them. I'm assuming it'd be Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. I would more like it if it was Wade Barrett and Rusev going in for it, but that's just an asinine thought that would never happen in a million years.
Nice.
So I agree 100% with Colton. I think Enzo and Big Cass come out the Raw after, but then again, we've all been saying this for a very long time, that it's going to happen. It's like Finn Balor thing with the people who think he's going to come out every single pay-per-view.
Yeah.
It'll probably never happen. It'll probably be lifers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The Raw after is, I would say, as big as WrestleMania, with especially the work on the mic, the Raw after, and then you have at least one returning superstar from injury or a call from NXT.
Yeah.
But here's a question for you.
Okay.
Would you rather have Enzo Big Cass come up? Would you rather have Bullet Club, or would you rather have Nakamura?
I want Enzo and Big Cass. I don't care about the Bullet Club. I don't care about Nakamura. I'm probably going to get yelled at by the internet for saying that, but that's how I feel. Not knocking those guys. Those are three extremely talented. Shinsuke Nakamura, if I'm pronouncing that right, I hope, has officially signed with the WWE. Everything that I've seen from him and everything I've heard about him, absolutely phenomenal star. Obviously that term gets overused a lot with AJ Styles being in WWE, but I've heard nothing but good things about him, and I expect a lot of fun stuff. But I love Enzo and Big Cass so much. I want them more than anyone else. I want Enzo and Big Cass. I don't want the Bullet Club. I don't want Bayley. I don't want Finn Balor. I don't want Jesus himself. Because I feel like if Jesus did come out, Vince would probably die for trying to face God in a match and all that terrible decision making he did. But yeah, I want Big Cass and Enzo Amore. That's all I want in my life. I will be perfectly content with anything else that would happen, knock on wood. I just want Enzo and Big Cass. And I will shout that until it happens, and then after it happens, when they completely screw it up, and they end up facing the Ascension on main event each and every week. Okay, soapbox is over. Let's move on to something more positive. Actually, this is a negative. Kevin Owens, the Intercontinental Champion, was not on Raw tonight, and I'm pissed off about that. Okay, I'm sorry, that's not positive at all. But there have been rumblings throughout the Twitter sphere that we might be headed towards Kevin Owens against AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania. I think anybody would argue with that match taking place. Two of the best workers in the world on the grandest stage of them all would be truly an amazing thing to see. But yeah, I don't really know why Kevin Owens wasn't here tonight. Dolph Ziggler wasn't there tonight. I assume they're going to be used more prominently on SmackDown this week. And as Byron so eloquently said, Triple H will be on SmackDown for the first time since finding out who will be his opponent at WrestleMania. And shockingly enough, the first SmackDown since he found out who his opponent is at WrestleMania. Brilliant broadcasting, Byron. Brilliant broadcasting. That's a fun alliteration to say. But yeah, last year we obviously had the big ladder match for the IC title. I think I'd rather see the US title get that slot on WrestleMania. Give me Kevin Owens and AJ Styles. Give me Owens, Styles, Jericho. Give me Owens, Ziggler again. I know people will bitch about that, but I will enjoy it a lot. Give me Owens and a broomstick. Don't really care. Put Kevin Owens out there on WrestleMania where he deserves so he can shine. Yeah, what you got on this one? I'm tired of ranting for a bit. I need some tea.
My idea is put Owens versus Ziggler versus Styles versus Jericho. Take the two best matches from Fastlane and combine them into one huge match. I mean, one of them has a belt, so the stipulation is taken care of. It's for the belt. Why do they have a rivalry in such a short time? It's because it's for the belt. I mean, it all explains itself. You really don't even need to give it a whole bunch of time on Raw. You could have Styles go out there and cut a promo against Owens. Then you could have Jericho versus Owens, Styles versus Ziggler, mix it up. You have four guys, and you could mix them up for 5 weeks on Raw, and no one will really complain about that. We'll all probably really enjoy the matches, and then in WrestleMania, you have arguably the four of the hardest workers. Well, Jericho used to be one of the hardest workers in WWE, all doing this amazing match. It doesn't really even matter who wins that match. Everyone would be happy with any one of those people being champion. But that's what I got. I feel like that, out of all the matches we've heard so far for Mania, that match could easily be main event material.
Yeah, that sounds like a great match. I like that idea. What I like most about it is that it would keep at least two of those guys out of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, where they will job to Braun McHuge Giant Man. As he's
I heard he's gonna win this year.
I hope not. God, just don't have Hornswoggle win the match. I don't care. Don't. Oh, jeez. Can you imagine if it just ends up Braun Strowman and Hornswoggle and they just
they lock up in the middle?
That'd be great. Yeah, so IC title, tag titles, US title leads us to the main event. And I just want to say now that the crowd was extremely hot all night. Fantastic crowd in Detroit. Give yourselves a pat on the back. So Triple H and Roman Reigns. Obviously, it appears that this Roman Reigns experiment is not working. I'm still a fan of Roman Reigns. Obviously, he's not my favorite. He's no Dolph Ziggler. He's no Kevin Owens. He's no even Dean Ambrose. But I think this match at WrestleMania will be a good match, and I think people are losing the sight of the fact that it'll be a good match. Yeah, Roman Reigns, he got his ass kicked tonight, and that was pretty awesome. A lot of blood going everywhere. I don't think that was intended. But I think the company has a bit of a problem with Triple H supposed to be the bad, mean authority figure that is keeping the good guy down when he is clearly getting cheered out of the building. And when your guy that keeps getting pushed down is getting booed as heavily as Reigns is. And for me, the issue isn't really that, is that you can't really change their characters to facilitate that. You can't just make the authority figure the good guy, out of nowhere. You could turn Reigns heel, but at the same time, Triple H is still supposed to be the authority, and he's supposed to be the controller, the controlling asset on Raw. And so, honestly, they're gonna have to do something special to make people care about this. I'll care about it just, for the match's sake. It'll be a good match. I'm sure they add some sort of stipulation, whether it be a special guest referee or no disqualification or what have you. But tonight showed that maybe this Roman Reigns thing isn't working. I wish it was. Obviously, the guy is going out there and working his ass off each and every night to do the best he can and to work with what he's given. And unfortunately, he hasn't been given a lot of great stuff lately. And so those are my basic thoughts on it. There's a lot of ways that they could go with it. A lot of ways they could turn out great. A lot of ways that they could turn out really bad. But that's what's fun about wrestling. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Trying to collect my thoughts on this. There's like two different ways I want to go at it.
Yeah, my bad. We'll edit that out in post. It'll be fine, says Vince McMahon.
Well, this is live. I don't know what you're talking about.
And I'm too lazy to edit it out in post, let's be honest.
With Lesnar, I feel like you can turn him heel against a heel authority. Just have him start being mad more. Have him start complaining about what city they're in. Complain about the crowd, how they're always booing him. Complain about this. Almost like a CM Punk type heat on him. Create a heat where people like that you're going up against authority, but they hate you at the same time. Almost like a Steve Austin type thing, where you're complaining about where you're at, you're complaining about the crowd, complaining about have him come out and complain about who he's facing, if he's facing Sheamus or something. That way you can keep him heel, or turn him heel for this, and face a heel authority where you can just have Triple H be so brutal to people on the roster, whatever you want to do with him. That people might actually turn on Reigns and start cheering for him because he's their quote unspoken leader or something along those lines. That is how I would turn him heel. Other than that, the match, I just don't. It doesn't have that like main event feel. And to be honest with you, if Dean Ambrose won, it wouldn't really have that main event feel. If Brock Lesnar won, and it was Brock Lesnar versus Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship, and it was like steel cage match or something, that would have felt like a really awesome pay-per-view from 2003. But I feel like WrestleMania has always two main events, right? I feel like it should be right there at like the third spot, like first main event, second main event, show ends. I feel like they have so many good things. They could put the women out there for one of the main event in a triple threat match. They could put out any number of main events, really. You could put Ambrose Lesnar street fight is more of a main event, I feel, than Reigns Triple H. I feel it'll be a quality match. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be really smash mouth, old school versus new school style of thinking and style of wrestling, what you're told, what you learn to do. But once again, it's one of those matches Reigns has to win. Otherwise, it doesn't do anyone's career any good. So I feel like they're really backing themselves up against these matches where you obviously know who's going to win this match.
Yeah, I agree. And we didn't even mention the Divas. I'm glad you brought that up. But I think we can pretty safely agree Charlotte versus Becky versus Sasha at WrestleMania. The match will speak for itself. You don't really have to say anything about those three. Absolutely fantastic match, regardless of the build-up. I'm sure they're going to build it up well, but I'm excited for that match as well. We don't mean to slight them in any way. I just have really bad memory. And so that has been a long, fun discussion about Raw and WrestleMania. But this is our anniversary show.
1 year.
1 year. We have made it 365 plus days on Locker Talk. Never thought we'd make it this far. Matt, congratulations. Thank you for coming up with the idea of doing this show. Commend you for that. I'm glad we've done it. I feel like it's brought us closer as friends. I feel like it's made me a better wrestling fan, a more intent wrestling fan than I have before. And so, why don't you talk about that? And I'm going to look up some tweets from our clique, our great friends that we've made here while doing Locker Talk. Matt, take it away with some of your thoughts on a year of Locker Talk, and I will look for these tweets.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I came to Colton with the idea of doing a show in a Hardee's in Branson, West Missouri. It's okay, you don't have to look that up. It probably won't come up. So, it was pretty crazy. I thought we would literally just be talking. I just wanted to talk about wrestling more often. And so did Colton. That's why he agreed. And so we thought we would just literally talk wrestling, post it on YouTube, and say it's productive because we're talking about wrestling, get no actual views. Lo and behold, we get our first episode is, I think, our second most viewed episode, which is horrible because that's the worst episode ever in any YouTube video ever. So you should probably not go look that up.
Don't do that, no.
I remember specifically when we started, Colton's like, yeah, we gotta get it under 15 minutes. Everything, like, good is 15 minutes or under. We gotta shortest attention spans and everything. So I was like, I fought him for a little bit, but I was like, all right, fine, let's just do this. And so we started doing that. It was take after take after take. We had to get the start right, like perfect. We had to get all planned out. If we missed a beat, we had minutes in, 10 minutes in, or like 3 minutes in. And that's where some of our blooper reels come from.
Yeah, and here we are. We just crossed the 35-minute time slot for this episode, so I'm glad we're not doing that anymore. It was a bit too stressful. However, I feel like our blooper shows were pretty good, and they might be worth it. But with that said, I found the tweets, so we would like to thank everyone who has ever tweeted us on Locker Talk, who has ever interacted with us. More of these people because they tweeted at us when we asked them to, so good for them. The first one comes from @SeanRunning72. Go follow him. Huge wrestling fan. And he says, happy anniversary. Here's to many more years for you guys. And he also said comedy on Fastlane. I thought Fastlane was a good show. And the best match was Styles versus Jericho. Just wish Ambrose would have won. I believe we're all in that boat. The next one comes from the original Locker Talk fan, comes from Farmer, who has said, any chance we can have a 15-minute episode once in a while? Having to stop for an hour to listen is rough.
Classic Uggo question.
Classic Uggo question indeed. And then we have a tweet from @TedIsWrestling, who is also a legend. You can follow him on Twitter @TedIsWrestling for all your wrestling needs, or you can follow him @TedIsLegend for all your legendary needs. And he says, I hope you have an anniversary show every year. Great line there from Ted. And then last but certainly not least, our friends from across the pond. And before I read off this very special tweet, I would like to give a shout out to Andy from @RTM Wrestling. For our Fastlane video yesterday, we had what we can only nicely call a YouTube troll, who decided to not say some nice things. And of course, me trying to be nice, I just passively aggressive told him everything that was wrong with his comment, from grammar all the way down to syntax and every error possible. However, good old Andy took it upon himself to call out this complete moron, who said some very inappropriate things, things that no person should say, and questioned whether or not that Andy had a girlfriend, which sadly this troll does not know that the ankle biter could beat his ass any day of the week and twice on Sunday. So Andy, Emma, thank you to both of you. And so we would like to read out this message from RTM Wrestling. Make sure you go follow them @RTM on Twitter. Watch their YouTube show. It's a lot better than our show. I'm man enough to admit that. And has said, my favorite Locker Talk moment is meeting you guys. I think people forget that most wrestling fans are, for the most part, pretty isolated. So to meet people that just want to talk wrestling and support people they meet is pretty rare. Thanks you guys for all of the shows. And I won't lie, I was sitting in class and I read that. I got a little emotional. I tried to keep it in. And so Andy and Emma, thank you guys so much. Thank you to every one of those people. Thank you to everyone who's tweeted us. It really means a lot. Like Matt said, we got into this because we wanted to talk wrestling more. And as Andy said in his message, wrestling fans are pretty isolated. They're few and far between. So it's been a lot of fun to be able to talk to people and, kind of talk wrestling with people you would never ever meet in a million years. And so it's been a lot of fun. And I think I can definitely speak for both of us saying we've had a lot of fun doing this show. We've had a lot of fun moments. Matt, can you think of any specific moments that were really fun? to do for the show, or just anything about Locker Talk that's made an impact on your life?
I would like to make a verbal poll and ask those of you who watch, only those you watch, obviously, can vote on this. Should we do another baseball wrestling mix-over? Yes or no? We'll try to switch it up on who would play who. We might do that depending on the poll. Other fun moments, though. I remember the best backdrop of a Locker Talk was probably when I had SmackDown going in the background of one episode. And I think Farmer was the one who caught onto it and said, "Is that SmackDown?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I think I was just watching SmackDown the whole time."
I mean, anymore, SmackDown might be more entertaining than the show. At that time, I think we might have been a little better. Yeah, definitely. I remember all the food that we ate for live lunches with Locker Talk. Anything from starting out with Subway, and we gradually moved our way up to Walmart subs and Walmart pick 3 buckets.
Oh, yeah.
Not to sponsor Walmart or anything, but those are delicious. And if you haven't had one of those in the last week, you need to go get a sub and a pick 3 bucket from Walmart, because I really want one right now. I'm kind of hungry. I don't know. We've had a lot of great moments. I remember, I think it was episode 4 or 5. That was our 1 in 1 in 21, when we took 21 takes to get the show right, and that's where most of our bloopers came from. And I believe it was that night. We were recording at like 1 in the morning, and just during one take, I just freaked out and started cussing up a storm because I was so tired and I just wanted to get the show done. But thankfully, we're a bit more relaxed now, and I guess we just don't care as much anymore. Yeah, a lot of fun moments. Matt, anything else that you want to speak about the entertainment of Locker Talk?
Well, I mean, Locker Talk has made me more diligent of a fan. Like, it's not like, oh, do I want to watch Raw? Do I want to watch, like, this pay-per-view? Or, I'm sorry, I have the WWE Network. Do I want to watch this pay-per-view on Monday, brand new? You know what I'm saying? Because it's never streaming. Seriously, you gotta fix that.
Yeah.
I already know I'm gonna be watching WrestleMania on April 4th. So, it's made me more diligent fan of, like, do I want to watch these? No, I have to watch these. And not in, like, a negative way, I have to watch these. It's like I have to watch these, I have to pay attention if they botched one of the moves, which I feel like they botched a lot of moves at Fastlane. I didn't say that earlier. Yeah. But especially in Tamina Snuka, Naomi, I feel like Tamina Snuka botched like 8 times during that match. Or it might just be her being slow. I don't know. It makes me pay attention to, like, storylines, what might happen, this and that. And before, after the Hardy Boys left, I'd really just stopped paying attention. I like to call 2012 through 2014 the lost years. Or early 2014.
Yeah.
Other than that, obviously recording the show, Who Should Be the Face of the Company, Cena or Orton. If you haven't seen that, go back and check out one of our previous shows. It's on there somewhere.
Yeah, go find it. It's in there somewhere, folks. You just have to find it. We're not going to make this one easy.
Andy, do you remember?
Do you remember it, Andy? Yeah. Man, that right there, that's one of the fun things. I already mentioned it, but just meeting so many cool people and being able to interact with so many cool people and being able to hate so many annoying people, which is one of my favorite things to do. It's just been a blast. I'm really glad we've done this for a year. Hopefully we can do it another year. Maybe we can get to 100 episodes someday, and maybe at that time we might get 15 or 20 viewers at that point. That'd be kind of neat, don't you think?
Well, what was I gonna say? 1 second. Oh, the special guest special guest Locker Talk member Daniel Farmer, I think on 2 episodes, made an appearance with his vocals over phone.
Yeah, that was so thanks, Farmer, for giving your input, even though you seem to complain about us more than anything now, so whatever. Also, if you would like to be a special guest on Locker Talk, feel free to contact us at WWE Locker Talk. We'd love to have you on as long as you're not a complete moron and you know what you're talking about. And so yeah, we've had a lot of fun times in this show. We've done a lot of gags that probably went over most people's heads. We probably have a few more gags on this episode that will go over people's heads. Matt, do you have any other thoughts on this, on 1 year of WWE Locker Talk?
Comments on 1 year WWE Locker Talk?
If not, that's cool.
No.
We can always move on.
I feel like there's a lot more. This is really calling people out on Twitter. I think there's a lot more people on Twitter that are always tweeting us, but have never actually watched a Locker Talk episode.
So if that's you and
Which
you're
makes
watching
me
for the first time, maybe go back and watch all the other ones and start watching from now on, like a dedicated little fan. That's rude.
I would also like to call out the change of scenery consistently on my end. I feel like every time there's something different going on in the background.
Yeah, Matt, are you looking for Narnia? Is that what's going on right now?
Currently in a closet. That's not a blue green screen. That's a real clothes. Let me touch some so you know. Yeah, there's just a lot of different backgrounds. I remember Colton contemplating once if he should change the poster or not in his background.
Actually,
I feel like backgrounds are just
if people don't remember, I once had a different poster in the background. And we will steal a segment from RTM right now. We have a 5-point challenge. If you can tell me what this poster means and what this poster is about, you get 5 points in life, and that is redeemable anywhere in the world as long as you're living. So, 5 points. Tell me what this poster is, what's it about, what's it from. Go.
I would also like to take a phrase from RTM, and I think we should use it in our podcast. And that is called "The Jack is Coming Out." And that will be a verb for any time we speak our truth and what's in our hearts about the current product. So anytime you feel like you need to pull a "Jack is coming out" on Twitter or our show, just go ahead and do it.
We're pulling no punches here, folks. That's what we're going for.
We will talk about the current product to the bitter death of it.
That's right.
And our feelings for it.
I feel like that's what the internet's for, so glad we have that platform to do all that stuff. So I think we've beat this horse dead with the whole anniversary thing. It's been a lot of fun. Once again, thank you to everyone for participating with us. It's been great. And so, Matt, I know we do this every week. What announcements do we have for Locker Talk in the coming weeks and in the coming year?
There's one thing about the 1 year anniversary. How come you people notice the Cena Orton thing as your favorite gimmick, but you never addressed why I wear sunglasses every episode? That's just a thought for you guys. You can get back to me wherever you want.
Here, I'll put on glasses.
For a period of time, I wore hats and beanies. Colton wore hats. No questions were asked about those.
Put on a hat right now.
Announcements for the show.
Hey,
Well,
I'll go all the way. Keep going with your announcements.
Well, next week we'll be doing a fantastic episode. We have compiled research, our favorite matches from these people, title accomplishments they've had, and that is who should be the face of the company. Is it Roman Reigns, is it Dean Ambrose, or is it Seth Rollins? We have compelling arguments for each one and compelling arguments against each one. We will be discussing that. We will also be discussing ladder matches that have happened that have been amazing that you may have forgotten about. So we're not going to be talking about TLC matches. We're not going to be talking about the older Money in the Bank matches because those were good. We're going to be doing ladder matches you may have forgotten. And then we will be eagerly awaiting the results of the poll, which probably won't ever happen, on if we should do a baseball episode again or if we should not do a baseball episode again. If you would like to check out what that looks like, episode 3, go back and check it out.
Yeah, it's really fun. I think that's one of our best episodes we've ever done. So I agree. If you have to check out one old episode of Locker Talk, go check out that one. It's a lot of good fun. Baseball is great. It's almost opening season, and the Cubs are going to lose again. Can't wait for that to happen. Sorry.
Their odds are amazing this year.
Yeah, they are every year, Matt. They are every year. So, Matt, I think we have one little last segment, but first we're going to do our hashtag of the week, a favorite segment of no one here on Locker Talk. And in honor of the Godfather going into the WWE Hall of Fame this week, our hashtag of the week is PG, mind you. Hashtag all aboard. Matt, over to you. Our last little fun segment here before we get to signing off.
Well, speaking of signing off, which is a smooth segue, if you haven't noticed, I don't know if we lose our viewers at the last 10 minutes like Raw does, but we do a sign-off every single week. A different thing with our hands or our heads or sometimes our feet, but you can't see it.
True.
So this is our salute to Locker Talk finishes. And up first we have the ever-popular Nakamura.
And next, stemming, and thankfully no longer continued because this man's terrible, but Nature Boy. Woo! And last, but certainly not least, the coup de grace of Locker Talk. Woo, woo, woo.
You know it.